but welcome to the inaugural AI for Writers Summit. We started work on this idea of launching a summit in early November 2022, a few weeks before ChatGPT launched and woke the world up to the power and potential of artificial intelligence. We thought we could get 500 registrations with a stretch goal of 1,000. Well, as of this morning, more than 4,000 of you were registered to be a part of the summit. Originally, the plan was to record it in advance and try and avoid any technical issues, such as waking up this morning to the Wi-Fi in my house not working, which led me down to the office to do this presentation today. But outside of technical issues, it was very quickly apparent to me that the rate of change with AI we were experiencing every week, that doing it live was the only option. So pardon any glitches or gaffes. Our team is standing by to help with any technical issues, but this is all coming to you in real time with the latest information and ideas. We have a lot to talk about and a jam-packed agenda over the next 4 hours. But before I dive into my opening keynote, I just want to say thank you to the people who've made it possible. Thank you to our small but mighty 5-person team at Marketing AI Institute, who have worked tirelessly to plan and produce this program, along with the support of our amazing event partners at Meeting Demands and NPI. Thank you to our incredible speakers who will meet throughout the day. They are giving generously of their time and knowledge to help us better understand the moment we find ourselves in and the challenges and opportunities ahead. And thank you to our sponsors, starting with presenting sponsor Roetzer, whose initial commitment early on enabled us to offer the free summit pass that so many of you have taken advantage of. And to all our supporting sponsors, including Copymatic, Demandwell, Gloss AI, GoCharlie, Hyperwrite, Rasa.io, and Vissel. Also, a few quick housekeeping notes. Engage in chat, as so many of you have. I finally jumped into Whova myself last night, and I love to see all the engagement and communications happening there already. Questions will be curated throughout the day, so if you post those, Kathy on our team is watching that, and we're going to get to those in the Ask Me Anything session at the end of the day. Sessions are being recorded and on-demand access is available for purchase. If you didn't do the $99 upgrade in registration, you will be able to go back and do that if you choose to. Slide decks when applicable, so mine and May and Mike all will have decks. Those can be downloaded from the session profile pages immediately following the presentation. So if you go there right now, it might not be there. Don't worry, it's going to be added. Okay, so let's get going. My keynote clock is ticking, and I am on tight deadlines from my team to get this done on time. So for any of you regular podcast listeners, the Marketing AI Show podcast, you are aware that as of Monday, when we recorded our last session, I had not done my deck yet for this event. And the reason was not because I was being lazy or that I wasn't making time for it. The reason was I didn't know what to say. So it's such a big moment in time. There's so much uncertainty. There's so much fear. There's just so many directions you could go with this. So I did finally actually finish the deck about 24 hours ago. And I thought the only place to start in this moment was to talk about ChatGPT. I don't think we're allowed to do a writing event without addressing ChatGPT right up front. So if you've never used ChatGPT, if you've never seen it, or maybe you've never even used a writing tool, maybe this is the first time you're finally saying, okay, I got to figure out what all this is about. This is what it looks like. This is the ChatGPT Plus interface. So I pay $20 a month. And when you come in here, you can choose which model you want. So you could see it first. I clicked on that menu and I had 3.5 legacy, 3.5 standard, or whatever it is. There's a browser function now where you can connect it to the internet. But in this case, I chose GPT-4. Now, what I gave it first was a pre-created prompt. And that prompt read, you are a speaker that will be presenting a keynote on the state of AI and writing. Here is the session description. So then I give it the description of this session. And then at the end, I said, create an outline for the state of AI and writing keynote presentation. So now if I had chosen to use GPT 3.5, this would have been written already. GPT 3.5 is way faster than GPT 4, but GPT 4 is way smarter. It has more logic capabilities, more reasoning capabilities to understand the answer it's giving a little bit, to assess the quality of that answer, to give a better aligned answer with the human intent. And so what you can see is it's actually developing a rather comprehensive outline of the talk I could be giving right now. So I'll kind of jump ahead to the punchline, and you can see here, this is actually quite good. With no additional prompting, no editing of that prompt. It gets into the history of AI and language models, the significance of writing across industries. It goes deeper into what language models are, how they work, key features, talks about the impact of AI on brands, agencies, publishers, and media companies, talks about augmenting your capabilities and your career, navigating unknowns, and gets into conclusion. And the reality is, if I had chosen to give this talk and kind of build out from here, it probably would have been pretty good. Um, but that is not the talk I'm going to give you. So last May, about 5-6 months before ChatGPT emerged, but shortly after DALL-E 2 was introduced, I wrote a blog post called "How AI Will Alter Your Career Maybe Sooner Than You Think." And at the time, I was really struggling to figure out the impact generative AI was about to have, starting with art, with images, with graphic design, with illustration, because that's what DALL-E 2 showed, was that AI was all of a sudden way more creative than it previously was. And so in that blog post, I said, what if the work that defines you and brings you fulfillment changes? What if AI moves further into the strategic and creative realms much sooner than expected? So the talk I'm going to give is not the talk of an AI enthusiast. I do have a passion, a bit of an obsession for AI, but I wouldn't say I'm an enthusiast in terms of I'm cheering it on to do what it's doing. I am a writer by trade. I came out of journalism school. My wife is an artist by trade. My daughter at 11 wants to be an artist. She is an aspiring artist and already better at art than I am. And my son, who's 10, wants to be a video game developer. These are all career paths that AI is all of a sudden coming for. It is at the doorstep of all of them. And so the talk I'm going to give you is that of someone who is trying to grapple with the moment we find ourselves in, the impact it's going to have not only on business and on the economy and on society, but the impact it's going to have on each of you. And so I need you to understand, I have great empathy for those of you who are afraid, for those of you who don't understand this stuff and are uncertain. We are all in this together. And that is a big part of the reason why this event exists, and why I wanted to do it back in November of 2022. So I have long believed that writing is the most important skill in business. Maybe it's because I'm a writer by trade, as I mentioned, having graduated from the Ohio University E.W. Scripps School of Journalism. Or maybe it's because my last 22 plus years as an entrepreneur, marketer, and author have shown me time and again the power of words to inspire, motivate, and affect change. The written word transcends business function and industry. Whether you're in marketing, sales, service, HR, operations, legal, finance, it doesn't matter. You rely on copywriting to inform and influence audiences. Words matter, but so do the experiences and emotions behind them. I've always thought of writing and storytelling as a beautiful mix of art and science, but that mix is evolving with the advent and rapid adoption of AI writing technologies. ChatGPT and other AI tools have ushered in an age of more intelligent writing. AI democratizes access to the power of words. Novice writers can become good to great writers overnight. Advanced writers can unlock new levels of creativity and productivity if they choose to leverage the tools that are available to them. AI creates massive uncertainties for brands, agencies, publishers, and media companies that have been caught unprepared. There are many unknowns ahead for writers, editors, and content team leaders. Everyone from large enterprise marketers to freelance copywriters has access to affordable AI technologies. These tools are redefining writing and editing career paths and forcing companies to reimagine their content teams and strategies in order to stay competitive. There is a fundamental shift happening as a result of rapid advancements in the large language models that power AI writing tools such as ChatGPT. But ChatGPT is just the beginning. In March of 2021, Sam Altman, the co-founder and CEO of OpenAI, the makers of ChatGPT, wrote a blog post called Moore's Law for Everything, Now, keep in mind, when ChatGPT came out on November 30th, 2022, they said that the technology was 2 years old. That means that when Sam wrote this in March of 2021, he was fully aware of the technology that would eventually be released into the world. And so in that post, Sam was trying to give guidance to the world to get ready. And he said, quote, "The coming age will center around the most impressive of our capabilities, the phenomenal ability to think, create, understand, and reason. We also need to keep in mind that GPT-4, as powerful as it is 7-month-old technology. So within the major research labs, there is already more advanced AI capabilities than we are seeing. And that is part of what we have to prepare for as an industry. Now, at the same time, as good as this AI is getting, my belief is there will always remain something uniquely human about writing and storytelling. The machine can't replace human experience. It can't empathize with readers. It doesn't have that capability. It doesn't feel anything when it creates. And it can't connect and communicate on a personal level. But whether we like it or not, AI is increasingly adept at simulating those connections and at creating what seems to be human-like content. This puts us at a critical juncture where we have to come together as an industry. We have to listen to each other, we have to learn from each other, and we have to explore what comes next. And that's what we created the AI Writer Summit for. Back in November, I had so many questions. I think I have more now than I had then. And I don't know that I have that many answers, honestly. I wish I did. I wish I could give everyone greater peace of mind and understanding about what is happening. But the reality is that there's so much uncertainty ahead. And so our hope was, by bringing this event together, this would just be a starting point, that this would hopefully inspire way more conversations, way more debate, way more hard questions being asked, so that we could together move the industry forward. So going back to what was I going to present today? How could I give any sort of comfort and confidence and I guess reality of where we are? And so where I landed about 48 hours ago was, what are the things that I think I know about what is happening right now? And I understand, because of the position we're in the Institute and the podcast and the events, maybe people think I have more answers than I do. So I don't want to tell you that like I know exactly what's going to happen. But my hope is that these 20 things really help you start to piece together where this is going on your own and in your specific area, your specific role, and in your company. So number one is, AI is just smarter technology. Anyone who's taken our Intro to AI for Marketer class that we do every few weeks, or our Piloting AI for Marketer series, or heard me give talks, you hear me say this over and over again. I think by looking at it this way, it becomes less abstract and overwhelming. We all use technology to do our jobs. We use Microsoft Word or Google Docs or Evernote. Wherever you write content, you're using software. This is smarter software. It learns, it improves, it makes recommendations, it gets better. So in the most simplistic way possible, it's just smarter technology. Now, large language models, which are at the basis of ChatGPT, in the most simple way I can say this, they predict words in a sequence, in a series, in a sentence. And they do that by learning from a corpus of knowledge. So in the case of GPT-3, GPT-4, it goes out, it learns from a bunch of training data, this case, the internet, envision like Wikipedia, like consuming all the content on Wikipedia or on these other sites. And then it learns how humans use words. And then when you give it a prompt, it tries to predict what word should appear. So it doesn't actually know what it's saying. It doesn't know facts. It doesn't know anything. Like, it's just making predictions about words. And so the best way to think about how to use these tools is as writing aids, not replacements. Now, because of how large language models work, again, just predicting words, they have inherent flaws that a lot of times people don't even realize. I get asked all the time, well, why does it make stuff up? Why is it wrong? It's because it doesn't know anything. It does what the technical term is, it hallucinates. It just makes stuff up, except it sounds really, really confident when it does it. Now, many of us know people who hallucinate all the time as well. They sound really confident in what they're saying, but they're just making stuff up. And that's basically what's happening with AI. As powerful and as smart as it appears, it makes stuff up all the time. And then human bias, there is no way to extract human bias from the AI agents that we build. They're inherently going to have, because even GPT-4, the creators have to make decisions around the capabilities of those agents. And then, so they don't cause danger and harm in the world, they make decisions around what it's able to do. Well, some people may not agree with those decisions and the guardrails that are created by OpenAI. So there's bias within the people at OpenAI, even if they're trying to do right by humanity. So there are these flaws within these language models, and so many people have no idea about this stuff. They just know it can write things, and then they're surprised when it doesn't write it perfectly. This is why it doesn't write it perfectly. It's imperfect technology because it's built by imperfect people. The next is, so often people think that the whole point of AI writing tools, and I think this is why a lot of writers are afraid, is it's just going to take our jobs. It's going to write articles and blog posts and scripts for us. It's just going to do everything. That is not probably the right way to think about these tools. There are so many use cases that a lot of people don't even consider, like classifying content. You can do drafts, but editing, ideating, optimizing, outlining, personalizing, simplifying, summarizing, transcribing, injecting humor, injecting metaphors, like all of these things that maybe you're not that good at or that take you a really long time, you can use AI writing tools for those things. You don't have to use it to write the content for you. So for me, I actually don't use AI writing tools, as odd as that sounds. I will use them for outlining. I will use them sometimes for ideation, but I don't ever use them to write content. So I primarily write today on LinkedIn. Like 1 or 2 times a day, I'll post 300 to 500 words. I don't even use Grammarly in that. I don't use any AI in it because I enjoy the process of writing. I don't want AI to do that for me. And that's okay. Like, we all get to make the choice of how we use these tools. Number 5, you've probably heard by now the term prompting or prompt engineering. This is guiding the AI what you want it to do. So in the example I showed at the beginning, I said, you're a keynote speaker, you're going to do an outline on this topic, and I'm giving it a prompt. So that ability right now matters a lot. The better a writer you are, the better you probably are at prompting it what you want it to do. The same holds true for editors and content strategists. You're really good at telling humans what to do. You create writing briefs to guide them what to do. Think about the AI agent as a junior writer, basically. You are telling it, this is what I want you to do in as much detail as possible. And so you provide this guidance. Now, I say for now this matters because the language model companies and the software companies building on top of those language models, they have every incentive in the world to reduce the need for you to be good at prompting, because the ability for you to gain value from these systems is directly related to your ability to prompt them at the moment. And so it's not an even user experience. And so they're going to want the AI to get much better at interpreting what exactly it is you're asking. It's like, for those of you old enough to remember Boolean search, it's almost like we're in the Boolean search days of language models. Like, we have to tell them really specifically what we want. It's not going to stay that way forever. Number 6, this is especially for enterprise teams. The real power of AI writing tools will be realized when you customize and train them on your company's data, principles, and policies. Now, May from Writer is going to talk about this, like AI for the enterprise and content teams. But this is a really important thing to think about. Again, we are at the very, very beginning of the application of language models in content and in corporations. So you're going to see personalization of these things for your organization. 7, I feel like we could talk about for the next hour. I unfortunately cannot give you much peace of mind here. If you work in SEO, or if part of your responsibility is driving organic search through the content you create, it's going to change. So the assumption I am under is you will see this year a drop in organic traffic because the way people seek out and consume information is going to change. So if I can go to ChatGPT and ask a question, say I'm going to Italy in June, help me plan my trip for Italy. Where should I go? What should I see? What flights should I take? And imagine that the ChatGPT agent or whatever other agent I'm using just gives me all that information. I have less need to click on anything. The better it is at giving me a response, even if it shows me links. That is going to happen across every industry. So there is going to be a drop in organic traffic. It is inevitable. Now, whether it's 2%, 5%, or 50%, I have no idea. And I've talked to a lot of people who are on the inside or talking to the people on the inside. They don't know either. And so all I can say here is you have to watch closely. You have to monitor your metrics. You have to look for drops, and you have to assume organic traffic will not create as much value for your company moving forward. This is also an extremely important one. On March 16th of 2023, the U.S. Copyright Office released updated guidance that said AI-created content cannot acquire a copyright in the U.S. That I'll read it specifically. Most fundamentally, the term author, so this is coming right from their guidance, which is used in both the Constitution and the Copyright Act, excludes non-humans. The guidance went on to say, for example, when an AI technology receives solely a prompt from a human and produces complex written, visual, or musical works in response, the traditional elements of authorship are determined and executed by the technology, not the human user. So if you are actively using AI to write blog posts and articles and scripts and create images and create videos, at the moment, and I'm not an IP attorney, so talk to your IP attorneys. At the moment, though, the guidance from the U.S. Copyright Office is that you cannot acquire a copyright for those things. This matters for your internal work, and it also matters when you have work for hire agreements with freelancers and agencies. You have to make sure the content they're creating for you is not AI authored exclusively, because you cannot get a copyright for it. And that is assumed in a work for hire agreement, you will own the copyright to what you're purchasing. Really important. There's a link that we have there. Again, the deck is going to be available. You can follow through the links. Kathy can put the links in the chat. A really important topic to talk about with your legal team. Next, I get asked all the time about detecting AI writing. It's not going to happen. AI was not going to save us from AI. The latest research on this stuff, the latest research papers, the latest guidance is all these AI writing detection tools that are being created for universities, for corporations, or whatever it is. They're not reliable. You're not going to be able to expel a kid from school because an AI tool said that they used AI to write something in an essay. So just know that we cannot rely on these technologies to identify reliably AI content. 10, every organization right now needs responsible AI principles. And I'm going to make this really easy for you. Sometime in February, early March, I published the Responsible AI Manifesto for Marketing and Business. Just go get this. It is under Creative Commons. You can take it and put it on your site or internally on your internal communication, Slack, whatever. You can use this as a starting point if you want to. Just take the whole thing. You can make edits. You can do whatever you want, remix it. But if you reshare it, help the community with what you improve upon it. So there's a link here. There's going to be a link shared with you. You can get the link from the deck. But at minimum, as an action item from this event, just to develop responsible AI principles for your organization. At the same time, generative AI policies. These are extremely important. Very few companies we talk to have these. A great example of this is Wired Magazine. Now, you might not go to the extremes Wired Magazine goes to, but you can see here it's very clear. They say, okay, we're not generating stories with AI content. They're not even using AI to edit, which is kind of crazy to me, but they've made that choice. They will use it for headlines and social media posts, generating ideas, research and analytical tool. They will not publish AI-generated images or video. They will not use AI-generated images instead of stock photography, and they will use it to spark ideas. I just love it because it's super clear and simple. You can put it up tomorrow, and everyone in your organization knows the policy. Now, the bigger the organization, the more complicated it gets to figure this out. But I believe every organization should have these. And I think at the bottom of your posts on your site, it should just say, see our generative AI policy. So rather than having to say whether each article was written by AI or not, just have a link, almost like a terms of service, where it's like, this is our generative AI policy. Okay. Every organization has to start with education. You have to get everyone on a level playing field. All your practitioners, all your leaders, everyone has to understand the fundamentals of what AI is, what it's capable of doing, or else you're never going to safely and successfully integrate it into your business. The law of uneven AI distribution. This is something I also wrote, I think it was in February, but I started thinking a lot about these organizations I was talking to, say like healthcare companies or law firms or financial services organizations, where ChatGPT was turned off for them. They aren't even allowed to access it. So they're not able to experiment with this technology because they don't have access to the technology. And so I started thinking about how uneven the distribution of benefits of AI is going to be in society. And I kind of arrived at three main variables. One, you have to understand it first. 2, you have to have access to it. And 3, you have to accept what it's capable of. So the access I mentioned is like in highly regulated industries where you can't even use it. The acceptance is oftentimes to get benefits from AI, you have to give something up, and it's usually your data. So the question then becomes, well, am I willing to give my data up to this company to realize the benefits that it enables? So this is going to come out to play in terms of how you and your organization use AI. 14, the space is blowing up. So this is from October 17th from Sequoia. They had 30 generative AI companies. Then by October 24th, a week later, before ChatGPT, they had 100. Then CB Insights in November, also before ChatGPT, they came up with 250. Today, there's probably 2,500 generative AI vendors. There'll be 10,000 by the end of the year. It's creating massive complexity. In addition, the legacy tech companies like Google and Grammarly and HubSpot, and Microsoft and Salesforce, they're racing to build generative AI capabilities right into their platforms. So then the question becomes, well, do I need all these third-party apps, or can I just use my traditional tech platform and they're just going to build everything in? I don't know where that's going to go, but it's something to watch. AI is going to increase efficiency and productivity immediately. Now, whether companies just make their employees do more work or whether they give more free time, that is to be determined. It's going to be a choice at a company level. The near-term impact on knowledge and creative workers is going to be greater than I expected. It's going to have a greater negative impact on jobs in the near term, but I do still believe in the long term it's going to be a net positive. The thing I can tell you that I can guide you is AI is not going to replace writers, but writers who use AI will replace writers who don't. Your best chance to survive and thrive the uncertainty is to infuse AI into what you do. As I said earlier, I do truly believe that human creativity wins in the end. It remains unique. There are too many things humans can do that the AI agents are incapable of, and there's no clear path to them having some of these things. And so what I think you need to do, what I think you should do from a content strategy perspective, is focus on authentic human content, the stuff that can't easily be faked. Think in person, unscripted, uniquely human points of view, like editorials and opinion pieces, podcasts, videos, live events. These are the things that are probably going to win in the near term. So I have 2 minutes, my final thoughts, and again, I'll be answering questions all day long and later, but final thoughts. Machines can create and they can inspire human creativity. Every career path, business, and industry is going to be changed by AI, whether we like it or not. So what can you do right now to address uncertainty? Ask yourself 3 key things. What am I going to lose in this process? What is AI going to do for me that I traditionally did? But what can I gain? And when is this going to happen? For writers, the when question is right now. So you have to figure out these answers, and then you have an opportunity to transform your career and your business. And in the process, you can become a next-gen writer. So I encourage you to be curious, explore AI, find how it's going to help you in your career path. And I will talk to you all again in a little while. Thank you.